Hello, and welcome to another episode of anime review thing, week 5, episode 5, blah blah blah, for Mob Psycho, Bleach, and Chainsaw Man. Damn, I was supposed to fucking do this yesterday, but like the CSGO major was on, so it'd be like that sometimes. But should be fine. Actually, it isn't, because I kind of forgot what happened, but that happens every week, so fuck it. I'll just roll out my notes to try and recollect what happened. Yep, sounds good. Let's start with Mob Psycho, episode 5. So yeah, last episode it ended with that insert song with Mob approaching the divine tree, and everyone's like cheering him on. And it starts off with, Dimple, the fake founder guy, like talking directly to Mob and being like, "Oh, doesn't it feel good to have people cheer for you?" And he's like, "Not really. It's kind of shit because they're all brainwashed." And Dimple goes on to be like, "I'm becoming a god of the new world, blah blah blah. Soon I brainwashed everyone in the town. Look how happy they are, blah blah blah." And as a viewer, we know what he's doing is kind of fucked up, but he's trying to put it out there like he's doing some sort of positive thing for the world. He's like, "Oh, I'm making them happy though," just like his original cult. I think that's the cool thing, is that his first cult, where he had a bunch of worshippers, like I think it was called LOL, or maybe that's just the what do you call it? That's just the English translation of it. Maybe it's like it was something else in Japanese, because his Japanese name is Ikubo, but we call him Dimple because it makes more sense. And yeah, so like in his previous cult, the whole thing was he forcibly made everyone smile and feel happy and laugh all the time. And then because they get addicted to that, they worship him. And then this is sort of like, it isn't the same, but it is similar in the fact of the brainwashing makes everyone feel happy, sort of ignore all the negative things happening in the world, just feel happy that they can all share one mind, one feeling, whatever the fuck they're feeling. I don't know what the fuck is going on, the technicality of it, but it is he's trying to show oh, look how happy these people are. I didn't change the personalities. They're still who they are. They can still do what they want to do. They're just worshipping me and giving me power and feeling happy and fulfilled because of it. And Mob obviously sees through that bullshit. And I think even leading up to it, he knew it was Dimple, because he does a reveal Dimple, show yourself kind of thing. But I feel even back in Reagan wanting to leaving Mob behind, being oh, everyone in the town's already brainwashed and whatever, I think Mob already had an inkling that Dimple's behind this because of the founder thing he was talking about 2 episodes ago. So there's that. And then we also find Hanazawa is was defeated and is sort of held up against the tree or something like that. And yeah, and then Mob does the whole oh, what you're doing is wrong, and then doing the whole back and forth. I really like this, honestly, because Dimple, this is all within Dimple's character, because he's an opportunist. He from the beginning, he said he was just taking advantage of Mob. Even the good things he did, when he saved him from what's his name? The Mogami? Something like that in season 2, the super powerful psychic guy. And he trapped Mob inside of his dream world, and then Dimple came in to remind him of himself. Even then, that was Dimple being yo, if Mogami is resurrected and gets a new life, no one is safe. Dimple's dead, so he's banking on Mob to stay alive. So it's Dimple, when you think about it, isn't really nice. he is nice. He helps Mob out every now and then, gives him a different perspective, you know, gives him a less optimistic perspective, because you know he's more of a realist. Mob's very gullible. Other people in his life very optimistic and shit. So you know, Dimple's kind of a real one for that. Or I'll get to that in the end of the episode, because I think it all ties together and it's really cool. But you know, out of every character in the show, Dimple is probably closer to that rival shonen character archetype than anyone else. Even though, you know, you have Hanazawa there, I guess, technically, but even Hanazawa, after being defeated, was kind of more like, oh yeah, I am not the greatest. You know, I should humble myself a little bit. And then, you know, that's his lesson learned. Dimple has always been like, had the opposite viewpoint of Mob, sees the flaws of Mob, and is like, you know, kind of like how Vegeta and Goku, Deku and Bakugo, Naruto, Sasuke, like those, the characters are sort of, they're not exact foils, you know, they're not exactly like, you know, a Lelouch and Suzaku, where like every ideal they have opposing viewpoints, but they are different enough where I feel like it has like that rival energy of like this, you know, the main character is going this way and the rival character is going this way, and it's like, you know, the two sort of fulfill each other, because you know they're all going for the same goal of wanting to better themselves, but you know, Dimple is going to be trying to be God, and you know, is opportunistic, while Mob is more righteous, isn't really the right word, but you know, he's more humble of a person. You know, he may have powerful psychic powers, but he realizes his flaws in other areas. You know, you might be able to say Ritsu's kind of in that same boat as well, but I think Ritsu is more because of the brother dynamic rather than like a goal in life. Because, you know, Ritsu doesn't want to become a better psychic, but I think that's different from Dimple and Mob both wanting to better themselves in different ways. And yeah, I don't know, I really like the way Mob Psycho did that, in the aspect of, you know, Dimple being the, you know, sort of like the final boss in this arc here. And yeah, like his role in the story is really cool. And then, you know, so what happens is Mob is like, yeah, I've had enough of your shit, gets Hanazawa out of his fucking prison, whatever the fuck you want to call it, and you find out that Hanazawa is also brainwashed and is trying to convince Mob, like, yo, let's do this another way. If you kill Dimple, nothing's gonna change. You know, everyone is more or less gonna hate you, because, you know, we all love the divine tree and whatever, blah 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 blah. And you know, Mob immediately knocks Hanazawa out, and I don't know if Hanazawa snapped out of his brainwash, or if he like is just amazed by Mob, because he, like, when he was like flying outside of the tree, he was like, oh, you're really amazing, or something like that. Because like because what happens later is Dimple is sucking Mob's energy from within the tree, because I guess that's his power. You know, he can do that because they have contact with the tree. That's the whole reason of the brainwashing, is that, you know, if a part of the tree is inside them, then, you know, it's easier to control, like from within, I think. And then what happened later on, like the reason why Reagan got brainwashed was because it eventually spread to their minds. It was something like that. It was cool, you know, and like that proves that, you know, Reagan was brainwashed. It's not like, you know, he tried to push Mob for anything. And yeah, like, you know, Mob has to like come to a decision. Like, does he have to kill Dimple? Because we see Mob like trying to see the real Dimple, like, yo, Dimple, show yourself. And we know why Dimple isn't showing himself, because if he shows himself, he's scared. Like, Mob could kill him. And I think that's a really cool dynamic, because, you know, it's at one hand showing Dimple being sort of cowardly, but at the same time it's kind of a real feeling, because like you know, you're like, damn, I'm trying to control the world here, and here's a person who's, you know, I've been using, but is coming to me in like a sort of like a friend way. Like Mob's a real one. He's like, yo, Dimple, show yourself. I want to see you. I want to talk to you about this shit. I don't think Mob even came into the tree with the intention of like exercising Dimple. He probably just came in to like talk and be like, yo, what's up? I think that like what really like I think pushed me on that frame of thinking was Hanazawa saying something along the lines of like, yo, like killing Dimple won't do anything, like you, and then like putting the sort of perspective of like, yo, if you forcibly kill Dimple to revert everything, you're no better than Dimple. Dimple's forcing everyone to act in his way, but then if you forcibly change Dimple, you're also forcibly changing how everyone feels. Even though you're reverting it back to like how it was, it is like sort of fucked up. But then, you know, Mob's like, yo, like, yes, but morally and like, you know, logically, you're just making bullshit to like you know, what's the word, satisfy? No, that's not the justify. You're just trying to justify your evil acts. Like what Mob is doing isn't evil. You know, it's all semantics and shit, but it is cool. It's cool to watch. I like a lot of this, you know, you wouldn't even call it philosophy. I don't know what you call it. Like, who the fuck? I don't know. Maybe someone out there knows the word. But, you know, there's this sort of back and forth on everyone's viewpoints and shit. It's really fun to watch. And, you know, we get like 5 minutes of Mob and Dimple fighting, which is really cool to watch. Bones is still going crazy with the animation. But, you know, even the Hanazawa and Mob fight was really coolly animated, because, you know, there's a lot of Mob doing, like, he's getting like knocked around, and like, you know, it was like he's like fucking skidding across the tree, fucking falling down, and like, damn, it looks really good. I love everything, directing, pacing, everything just feels so fluid. It's a really good episode of Mob. And what it ends with is, you know, you get Golden Dimple, which he says is like his final form, perfect form, whatever he said about it. And you know, Mob is like, that ain't you, bro. I know you, bro. I've been with you for like a year or some shit. You know, they know each other. Dimple, that's who Dimple wants to be, but that's not who Dimple is. Kind of like, that's the kind of idea that they're trying to put out there. And, you know, Dimple goes for another hit on Mob, and his shirt gets exposed, and he's like, damn, that shirt's lame as fuck. And, you know, and you see Mob's face sort of like, you know, it shatters him. And yeah, that's the end of the episode. And you're like, shit, what's gonna happen? Is Dimple gonna go, is gonna be furious? Is he going to be like, damn, Dimple, you're a real one? You know, I think I do know, because I've said before, I read the manga, but that was years ago. So, you know, I'm not really sure how this is gonna end out. Episode 6 is actually already out now. I could have watched it, but fuck it. You know, I wanted to record this before I did that, because I feel like, you know, if I watch the next episode and then record this, like, I'll come into this sort of a review already knowing what happens, and it might give like a what's the word, non-genuine review response from after watching the episode. So yeah, that's why I'm holding back on that. I also really liked the the mid cut in the episode, because it's like Mob in the middle with all his like friends behind him, and then the second shot is like everyone's face is the founder's face that looks like Mob, and you're like, damn, that shit kind of creepy as fuck, but it's pretty cool. I've been liking a lot of the shit Bones has been doing in the series so far, but you know, I guess I'm gonna hold my tongue on like making any final judgments until I see the next episode, because I feel like that's gonna be not the climax, but the first sort of hard-hitting episode where, like, you know, you might feel something crazy. I mean, last episode was pretty cool with the insert song. I've been playing that song on Spotify a shit ton, and yeah, it's really cool. So yeah, in terms of a rating, what would I give this? I would say maybe a 9. I think 9 is a good point, because I said episode 4 was a 10. I'm gonna give this a 9, and most of it is because of the animation and fighting and everything. It looked so good. I think I'm withholding on a 10 because I know it's not the, you know, it's not the ending of the fight. We're just setting it up, and the back and forth between Dimple and Mob is exciting, but it hasn't finished yet. Kind of a stupid reason to give it like a 9 out of 10 instead of a 10 out of 10. But you know, it's my show. I can do whatever the fuck I want. Yeah, so let's move on to the next show. Bleach episode 5. Sorry about that. My nose is fucking like blocked or some shit. But Bleach, what happened this episode? Alright, so last episode, Ichigo got stuck traveling to Soul Society, and yo, the fucking because the opening sequence with the title drop was like Ichigo trying to get Skatensho out of the jail, and he can't, and it's like with the music, and then the title drop came in. Honestly, out of all of the other title drops, it was probably the weakest, but I saw what they were trying to do. I think they were trying to do it with the beat of the song, so like, you know, props to them for like trying to do something like that. But you know, the others were just so much more you know, how do I say this, creative isn't the right word, like flashy, I guess. Like, this wasn't as flashy. Like, you know, you had the other ones where it was like, you know, it was like in the pool of blood, in someone's fucking torn arm. Yeah, like the title drops were fucking crazy, but this one was just more like boom, Ichigo trying to get out. I don't know, maybe like maybe it sounds better in like the like Blu-ray version, like maybe Disney Plus just like did the audio weird. I don't know. I'm kind of sick right now, so I'm sorry if I sound incoherent. But so I want to say that it started off with the OP thing, where, or even if it doesn't, I'll just recap it from the OP thing. OP is like, ha 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 ha, I trapped Ichigo because my letter is J and I'm the jailer. You know, I jail people. And then, you know, he's like, oh, Orihime and Chad, I'm gonna kill you guys. And then he gets cut up in half, and whoever it is has a sword and points it at Urahara, and you're like, who is it? Who could it be? My guess, like, I don't know if this happened in the manga. My guess it's Grimmjow. I'm not sure why Grimmjow would be in. Oh, I mean, he's a Aranka. Maybe that's why he's in Huecamundo. But his ability, like, the slash was red, and then I don't know who is. Like, I don't think it's a Soul Reaper because like who has like a red thingy like that? Because it wasn't Urahara with Benihime. It was so who the fuck knows? I don't know. But it was cool. Like I think there was also a thing where Urahara said wait. I wonder if he said that to Grimjow or to OP. Like, did he say it to OP to be like, no, don't fucking kill Chad and Orihime? Or was it to the person about to kill OP and be like, yo, we need him to fucking dispel the jail in on Ichigo? So I'm interested to see what happens with that. Okay, and then we get to the like Ichigo's like fucking like phone calls Akon, or maybe Akon calls up Ichigo, and in the meantime the research and development place is getting fucking wrecked by what's his name again? It's like Junaibo, the big guy who was the gatekeeper in like the beginning of the Soul Society arc, and you know, he comes in and it's like starts smashing things, and then it like pans over to like some fucking wand eye thingy, which, you know, you assume is one of the Quincy's, and maybe their ability is controlling another person. So that's an interesting ability. Like throughout this episode, they're really trying to like show off a lot of the Quincy abilities and be like, oh, this is my ability, blah blah blah, because we get to see Asnot, how the fuck you say his name. He's F, and you know, he does the whole thing to Byakuya, where, you know, Byakuya is like, oh, have I been poisoned? Are those fucking those light drill thingies, like, you know, if they hit me, do I get poisoned? Now he's like, ha ha ha, it's not poison, it's a feeling that you've forgotten so long ago, when back before you became a captain and you became strong. It's fear, blah blah blah. And I always thought, I think it's really interesting how they did that, because Byakuya goes like, fear, like everyone goes through fear, you know, but I've overcome that because, you know, he's fighting for Rukia now, or maybe it was Rukia's sister. It's not really, they're supposed to like look the same, right? I'm assuming it's Rukia because Rukia's still alive. And, you know, they do a really cool shot of like, you know, it's showing Rukia looking back at Byakuya, and then her fucking face gets deteriorated and decayed, and like you're just like, oh shit, that's fucking gross. And then Byakuya gets fucking hit, and then oh, dude, Asnot has fucking like one of the coldest like sort of lines. I think Bleach does a really good job with its how do you say, speech, like the talking back and forth is fucking fire, because he's like, yo, that's fear with a cause, you know, that's not really fear is not an emotion, it's an instinct. And like you're just like, damn, this shit's going crazy. And it does the whole thing of like, there's a fucking countless flies going up Byakuya's body, and it's like, he's like, yo, it's a feeling because your body fears. It's an, like, you don't understand it, you don't know what you fear, it's just fear, there's no cause for it. And like you're just like, dude, that's a crazy ass ability, because it basically means you you can overcome something you fear, right? Like let's say you're afraid of the dark, at least you know you're afraid of the dark. But if you're just feeling fear and you don't know what the cause is, that's something else, you know. That's crazy. And I want to really give props to Matsuoka, you know, for Kirito's voice actor, from Sword Art, Shokugeki Soma's voice actor, you know, plenty of others as well. Like, but you know, he plays someone in Demon Slayer. I think he plays plays in everything. He's one of the fucking biggest voice actors in the world, and the common sort of archetype he's put in is the sort of I don't know if they're ikemen, but it's supposed to be like, you know, high energy, maybe a little bit of edge, but has a lot of personality kind of characters. You know, this is something completely opposite to that, because Asnot is supposed to be the villain who's like talking with a deep voice, who's very sinister, and like, you know, you're just like, holy shit, he sounds evil. But like it's Matsuoka doing it, and you're like, holy shit, he's crazy. He's killing it. He's a goat. And I wonder when he started voice acting, because I mean, Kirito was probably his biggest role, and that came out in like what, 2011, 2012, about the same time Bleach ended. So yeah, I'm unsure if he was like, if he was ever given the opportunity to voice in Bleach beforehand. Fuck, it's so hard to speak with a fucking blocked nose, bro. Like, oh my god. God. But where was I going with this? Oh yeah, I want to lead this into a talk about voice acting in general, or at least voice acting in Bleach, because I find it really cool. I feel like this is one of the only series where it's an older series, and you're getting to see current voice actors in a show with, like, you know, the veteran voice actors who were there beforehand in like the original show. Like, it may have been done before, right? But what I want to know is like how many of these new voice actors probably grew up with, you know, listening to Bleach, and you know, the voice actors there, being a fan of them, and then like, you know, this is their chance to be on the new Bleach alongside, you know, maybe the people they grew up watching, you know, because we already had like Deku's voice actor here. I'm sure there are a bunch of other new voice actors who are able to hop on Bleach, you know, who never got the chance to do so beforehand, while, you know, the veterans are still there. Because they're like, you know, that just doesn't apply to the Japanese side, like the English dub as well, because, you know, you have Johnny Young Bosch, the greatest, playing Ichigo. A lot of the original voice actors as well for the main characters, and then you're having like new characters. I found that Xander Mobius, fucking, you know, main character from Persona. Who else does he do? I think he plays someone in Demon Slayer. He has another big role. I think he plays in Genshin, probably. I'm just naming games, and hopefully they're in the Wallace League. I feel bad. I feel like I should know the careers of these voice actors better. But, you know, all I'm trying to say, well, I mean, he's in Smash, but, you know, yeah, like any new dubbed voice actors that come in and they're like, oh my god, I grew up on the Bleach dub, it'll be really cool to be like, damn, it's really cool to see that collaboration happening. You know, maybe it's like a dream for them to be able to be on a show like Bleach. So yeah, that happens, and Byakuya is getting fucked hard, and even when you thought it couldn't be worse, the Asnot uses his Bankai against him. Zenbon Sakura. It's like, you're like, oh my god, it's over. And then he's just like, he's getting blasted with all the petals of the Sakura petals. Oh my god, I really should not be talking so much while sick, but it is what it is. Yeah, so Byakuya gets knocked into a fucking wall and is fucking bleeding out. And like, dude, the shot of him inside the wall bleeding, fucking dying, is, oh my god, it kind of hits hard, especially if you're a fan of Bleach and you're like, yo, Byakuya, one of the strongest captains, Ichigo's first like real opponent in Soul Society, and then, you know, he's kind of put on par with Kenpachi when you think about it, because of the what do you call it, when they both went against Yami, what's his name, Yami, fuck, the guy, the like 10 Arranca that like fucking took off his tattoo and was like, oh, I'm actually Arranca 0. That shit was crazy. But then it was like 2 of them took down him, so it was kind of put like, oh yeah, those 2 are sort of equal footing. I think they even fought each other at the end and you never got to see the result. Maybe they tied, I don't know. But yeah, Byakuya loses, Rukia gets hit in the back, Renji gets drop kicked, and then you know, Byakuya's like, forgive me, and his sword breaks, and you're like, oh shit, what's gonna happen? But you know, the real one comes in, Kenpachi Zaraki, and he has 3 bodies on top of him, and he pops up to fucking boss man. I think this might have been the first episode they said his name. I didn't really pay attention. It was something like Jubaku or something like that. It was it was definitely not YWACH like that. Like, they did not say Yawak, Yuach. I don't know. I will be prepared next episode on how to properly say his name. I promise. But for now, I'm just gonna say he's like the boss Quincy. So yeah, there's that guy, and Kenpachi drops the bodies of 3 Stern Ridders. So far, no one has beaten a Stern Ridder, or besides whoever beat OP. Even though you could say Urahara and Ichigo beat OP, but you know, it really was whoever the fuck that was over there in Hueco. But yeah, so you had it was R, Q, and Y, and you know, and this is where like they're sort of bringing it up of like each letter represents something, and then that's what their power is. So you had Raw, who turned into a big monkey Ozaru kind of character, and he's like, you know, his voice could defeat enemies, like that's why he's Raw. But then Kenpachi just cuts him in half. And then you had Q, which was Question, and like, you know, he was talking a lot, like saying like, oh, fuck, what was the wording? It was something along the lines of like, oh, I forbid you to do this, blah 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 blah. I don't know what the fuck it was saying. I wasn't really paying attention, but it didn't matter because Kenpachi ripped his throat out, and like that shit was crazy. You know, like goddamn, like that's cold, bro. Like imagine, bro. Imagine someone ripping your throat out. I'm imagining that, and like I'm scared. That shit brutal. And then you had Y, which was yourself, and Kenpachi was like, yo, that was the hardest one because, you know, I had a little trouble because he turned into myself. You know what I had to do? I just had to become stronger than his impression of me, and you know, that's the whole thing that happened in Naruto. I think I remember Naruto doing it. What am I gonna say? I remember it was Naruto, you know, with the first Shippuden arc, and it was like Neji, Tenten, Lee. Fuck, was Guy as well? I forget who it was, but they were basically like, yo, we're fighting our own clones, and they're just as strong as us. How do we win? And then I think Rock Lee is like, we just have to become stronger than we were when we started, stronger than we were yesterday, stronger than we were an hour ago, stronger than we were a minute ago. And like, that shit was crazy, but it was really cool. And I wonder if that was the same thing that Kenpachi had to go through, or if it was more of like the guy becomes an impression of Kenpachi that he thinks is Kenpachi. So if Kenpachi is stronger than that impression, then he just wins. Or if it's really like he had to become stronger than he was at that current moment. They didn't really explain, but I don't think it's supposed to be important. I think it's just supposed to be like, yeah, we have R, Q, and Y. I mean, they have some cool powers, but you know, they're going to die to Kenpachi. So, you know, Kenpachi's a beast, and the whole reason why Kenpachi is like sort of destroying these Quincy's easier than the other captains because he doesn't have a Bankai, and the whole thing is captains kind of rely on their Bankai ability in like every fight. So this is a way to, you know, nerf them hard, because it's like, bro, how good are you without your Bankai? And Kenpachi is up there with the other captains without a Bankai, so he's like, yeah, this is light work. And Bossman Quincy even said something like, yo, Kenpachi, he has no Bankai, we have to be wary of him, like he's a special target, sort of like Ichigo. And you're like, shit's crazy, bro, because Kenpachi fights the big boss man, and you're like, damn, where's this headed? But then, you know, we go into Shuhei versus Stone Ritter O, and O is for overkill, and he says his power is he gets stronger the more kills he racks up. And I think he said something like he's killed over 100 people already, and he said he even killed someone pretty strong here the last time he was here, basically saying he killed Yamamoto's lieutenant. And yeah, as soon as he says that and he's about to kill Shuhei, Captain Yamamoto shows up and is like, yo, what's up? And then Overkill tries to BM him a little bit by using his lieutenant's Bankai against him. He says like, yo, you haven't seen his... Apparently he hasn't used his Bankai in over 2,000 years. So how does it feel to see it again? And then we go into a Yamamoto flashback. I hope it's not going to be the last flashback we see, because we still need to know more about him and Big Boss Quincy, whatever the fuck was happening there. But we get to see Yamamoto with his lieutenant, and like a little side story where the lieutenant's like, yo, I want to be your right hand man. I want to be, you know, I want to fill in the gaps that you can't do. And then like it leads into him showing off his Bankai and leaving a scar on his face, where he already had one scar that was like going across like that. And then, you know, that's why they used to call him Eijisai, because, you know, the A is like the kanji for that, apparently, something like that. I don't know Japanese. And then when he did the other scar that went that way and it made a cross, they started calling him Jujisai. But then, you know, the lieutenant was like, oh, I can't be the reason you change your name, that would be disgraceful. And then that's the reason why his name is now Genryusai Yamamoto. And I thought that was a really cool backstory, because they've sort of been playing with it in like the past 4 episodes, where, you know, obviously he died in episode 1, or maybe episode 2. It might have been episode 2. Let's say episode 2 he died, and then episode 3 they did the funeral of like his death, and it was you know, he cremated him with, I'm guessing, his own Zanpakuto. And then here we get another story with him. So you know, he died, but he definitely had a cool story. Like I have respect for Sasaki Bay. And his Bankai is pretty cool as well. You saw it was like a lightning vortex kind of thing, and then, you know, he had his sword sort of pull it back, and then it would launch him into a target. And like kind of makes sense as well, because his sword is kind of like a fencing sword, whatever the fuck that's called. And yeah, like, so then it kind of makes sense for him to be thrusting. And I think it's also, how do I say, uh I think it's supposed to be a thing as well where the Quincy, who used Sasaki Bey's Bankai, doesn't really know how to use his Bankai because he doesn't have a sword to like launch back the fucking lightning vortex and then propel himself forward. What happened was he just fucking launched lightning at Yamamoto, and then Yamamoto's like, "Oh man, I know you're fucking sad, Sasaki Bey, because there's no way the Bankai you've been training for thousands of years is this weak." And like, the fucking face he had, the fucking background, it was so good. The voice acting, top notch, and then he just fucking eviscerates Overkill with one swipe. It like fucking burnt him to death. It was really cool. It was so hype. That shit was fire. And then he goes back and is like, oh, fuck, what does he say? He says like a really cool line, and then he jumps up in the air, seemingly like he's fucking flying or some shit. I don't think Soul Reapers can fly, but it looks like he's flying. Oh wait, maybe Soul Reapers can fly. Can they? I don't think they can. How do they float in the air sometimes? I don't know. I forgot. If they did explain this beforehand, I've already forgotten. But yeah. He goes flying in the air and is like, "God damn it, I'ma kill," oh yeah, he's like, "I'ma kill every fucking Quincy here myself," or something like that. And you're like, shit's going down. And it's like hyping up all the other captains that they do like the boom, 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 showing every other character. You're like, oh my god, this shit fire, bro. Shit flames. Like, you see Soifon like, damn, the fucking captain's fucking mad. We can't fucking give up here. You have fuck, what's his name? Fucking Bobcut dude, who like, whose Bankai is like, can like reverse your like movements or something like that, like mirror your movements, where it's like your left is now right, wherever you look down you up or something. It was something like that. He did it like to Aizen, and then Aizen fucked him up. He's like the leader of the Vizard, and he's like to his lieutenant, like the lieutenant's like, "Oh, I've never seen Yamamoto this angry." It's like, and he's like, "I haven't seen him this angry either. He's fighting on the front lines, blah 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 blah." And then he goes to Shunsui, and so he's like, "Yo, goddamn, I'm getting goosebumps here." And he's like, "Oh, like, I'm getting goosebumps here. Me watching this shit's crazy." And he's like, "Oh my god, it's like he's scolding me. Like I never taught you to fucking lose against people with this on this power level," or some shit like that. I'm like, god, this shit crazy. He's like, Yamamoto really turning the tides here against the Quincy's. When last episode it kind of seemed like there was no hope. Even the first half of this episode, it felt like there's no hope. But just one person, that's all it needs. And then we get to the after credits, where we get to see Kenpachi fucking defeated already. And then who appears behind him? It's Captain Yamamoto. And yeah, he's like, "I'ma fucking kill you." And I'm hyped for the next episode on the fight. It's gonna be sick. If I were to give this episode a rating, it would be a 10 out of 10, because you get so much. You get the Byakuya fight, and you get Yamamoto, you get Kenpachi, you get so much shit. It's so good. Really good episode. Top tier, top notch. Bleach is the best anime in the world. No cap. So yeah. Oh my god. Okay. Chainsaw Man. Let me boom. Chainsaw Man episode 5. What the fuck? Yeah, I'm looking at my notes and it says I liked that, but I didn't say what I like. I need to write better notes. But so how this episode starts is Denji finally being able to grope Power's tits in the bathroom, and he sort of gets disappointed because it's not what he hoped it was. And you know, we get to see it really affects him. I like this how it's like, you know, they're playing on the, you know, Denji doesn't know what he wants kind of thing, and even if he gets what he wants, is it really what he wants? But you know, the scene after that, I don't know if it's the exact scene after that, but we get to see Denji and Makima's like, yo, what's up, Denji? And he's like, oh, I finally got something, and it wasn't what I thought it would be. And then oh, it's something sex related. And then, you know, Makima sort of just like seduces him and is like, yo, you know, you gotta, there's other things to do with sex than just, you know, grabbing tits and whatever. And, you know, it starts like, you know, doing other shit, biting his fucking thumb, making him touch her ears and face, and then grope her tits. And I like this in the sense of like how it's exploring more of Makima than it has beforehand. Not in that sense, you know, like her personality, not her body. I don't give a shit about that. Because she immediately noticed Denji's waning motivation, and also knows like sort of Denji's character in how all she needs to do is give him the motivation to like want to do whatever the fuck she wants him to do. And her way of doing that is like fucking sexually arousing him. And and like, fuck, my fucking headache is killing me. What I kind of wanted was, which would be hilarious if like Denji has no sexual like tendencies. He just like, you know, sees it that other people has it, so that's what he wants. And it's supposed to be a whole commentary on like how, like, you know, people want what they can't have because he's never had sexual things happen to him. He's never had sex, blah 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 blah. But it seems to be more of like, oh, he's just a dude, and Power doesn't do it for him because he's not sexually attracted to Power, which is crazy because Power's fucking way hotter than Makima. But yeah, and then I guess it's also supposed to be a thing where, like, you know, you have to have like a connection with someone as well if you want to have sexual relations with them. You know, it's not just like you're attracted to their body, you're attracted to the person themselves. But I also don't think that's what's happening with Makima and Denji. I think it's literally Makima, or what happened in the toilet with Power is Power was so how do I say, like, non-sexual in the way that Denji was able to do that. And because Denji's a virgin, he doesn't know what to do in that sense, so all he's doing is grabbing tits, and it's not as sexual as, you know, how do you say, getting hot and heavy with a partner, etc., etc., right? It's like, it's non-sexual groping someone. I don't know how the fuck to explain that kind of thought process I'm having right now, but yeah. But then with Makima is sort of setting the mood up a lot more with Denji, and I feel like that's the reason why. But the thing is, I hope it's not as standard as like, yeah, Denji doesn't like Power but likes Makima, so that's why he can do sexual things with Makima. I really hope it's not like that monotone, but maybe it is. Maybe I'm reading too into it, but I like reading into it because it makes me enjoy the anime more. And then, you know, that's why at least in this episode, it's making me like Makima a little bit more as well, because I've stated beforehand how like like, you know, she's manipulating Denji and like everyone else, but you don't really see how she's doing it. In this episode, you get to see more of that, and it's pretty cool to watch. And then we go to Hayakawa's backstory, how he has a brother who was like sick, and they're playing in the snow, and he's like a little bit of a tsundere, like, I'm gonna play by myself, and like the kid's like, I'm gonna throw snowballs at you, and he's like, oh, you wanna fuck, what did he say? He's like, you wanna play catch? Go get a glove in the house. Goes to the house, and then the house gets blown up by the gun devil, and you're like, holy shit, that blast was huge. How the fuck did that happen? But yeah, so that happens, and then that's supposed to be Hayakawa being like, I'm gonna kill the devils for revenge and blah 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 blah. That's assumably what happened. And we get to see Himeno, another character, eye patch girl. She had a backstory where she had 6 other partners that died because, you know, I think she said something like they're useless or something. But then Hayakawa was there as her new partner, and we get to see how that happens. I'm probably gonna try and fucking end this real quick because my fucking nose is killing me. So yeah, then you have special division people being sent to like pick up the gun devil pieces because they're like magnetic, and if you put enough of the magnets together, they can find the big gun devil. That's basically what happens. And you know, they get to the hotel, they kill one devil, and you know, you get to see Power still be best girl. You get to see Himeno sexually, I'm not gonna say assault, but you know, she's getting really touchy with fuck, what's her name? I don't want to get her name wrong. Kobeni. I can't believe I was about to say that wrong. And you get to see more of Kobeni as well. I find her really cute, but I haven't seen enough to put her above Power. And there's also a dude there as well who seemingly also likes Himeno. They're doing a lot of like relationship stuff between characters, and I'm not sure how I feel about that, because I say relationships, but it's more like making the relationships between female and male characters sexual, which doesn't really happen a lot in shonen. I'm not saying it's bad. I'm saying it's more of like, you know, you think about One Piece, all the One Piece, the Straw Hat Pirates, there's like no romantic or sexual tension between any of the characters. Naruto, well, I guess there is romantic tension between them, but there isn't really sexual tension. In here, it feels like it's all sexual tension between characters, because Himeno is like, anyone who wins gets a kiss from me. You win, Denji, I'm gonna fucking give you a kiss with tongue. It's like, why is everything so sexual? I mean, I don't hate it, but I'm not loving it either, so I guess it is what it is. And then final minutes of the episode, you find out that the hallways are looping, or at least, well, the staircases are looping technically, because they're like trapped on the 8th floor. Like whenever they go up, they go back to the 8th floor. When they go down, they go back to the 8th floor. So mystery time. What's gonna happen? I don't know. I don't really care as well, because I don't know. I don't give a shit about Denji. I don't give a shit about most of these characters. I like Hayakawa, Power. Those are the only 2 I really care about. I hope they live. I hope they don't die. So yeah, if I were to give this episode a rating, I'll give it like a 7 out of 10. You know, it's alright. Nothing mind-blowing. I liked parts of it. They did more with Makima, but at the same time, I'm not really liking Denji still. He's pathetic, like I've been saying. But he's supposed to be pathetic, so you just have to wait until what happens later. So, also the ED. Song wise, I don't remember the song too well, but I remember the animation being really cool. Like it was like a fucking horse or some shit. Kobani was there, like fucking, and it looked cool. Animation, I think, animation wise, all the EDs in Chainsaw Man has been really cool. But song wise, I'm not really too sure. I might try to do like a ED tier list when it finishes and be like, oh, this was the best ED out of all of them. But you know, I don't fucking know. And also, I want to end this real quick because my nose is killing me. So thank you for watching. If you're still here, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. See ya.